Okay, now we're going to learn how to graph a linear equation from slope-intercept form. So if you look at page 16, we're going to do number 1 together. Now number 1 is already in slope-intercept form. So if it wasn't, the first thing you'd have to do is put it into slope-intercept form. The second thing you do is you identify the slope, which in this case is -1/5, and identify the y-intercept. Now, after I identify the y-intercept, I always circle it and say start here, because when we graph from slope-intercept form, we always start by graphing the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is always on the y-axis. So I go to -2 on the y-axis, and I put a big dot. Now, I'm going to use the slope to rise and run to find my next point. So, when the slope is negative on the outside, that can be rewritten two different ways. I can put the negative with the 1, or I can put the negative with the 5. So I write my slope two different ways. This is the rise, this is the run. So this means I rise in a negative direction and then I run in a positive direction. So I rise -1 in a negative direction, and I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a positive direction, and I put a dot. Now I go back to the y-intercept, and this time I'm going to rise 1 in a positive direction and run -5 in a negative direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I take a ruler and I connect my 3 dots. Okay? So let's do the next one. So for the next one, we always put it into slope-intercept form. Number 2 is already in slope-intercept form. My next step is identify the slope. I'm going to write it first with the negative in the numerator, then with the negative in the denominator. Then I write the y-intercept. I circle it and say start here. The y-intercept is on the y-axis. I go to -1. Now I rise and run. So I'm going to rise -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and run 1. Put a dot. Go back to the y-intercept. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a positive direction, run 1 in a negative. Take my ruler, draw my line. Okay? Now we're going to do number 3. The tricky thing about number 3 is there is no y-intercept. So in math, when there's nothing there, nothing in math is 0. So here, the slope is 5/2. The y-intercept is 0. Circle it, start here. I start where y is 0. And now it's a positive slope, which means it can also be written as -5/2. So this is the rise, this is the run. I rise 5 in a positive direction, I run 2 in a positive direction. I fall 5 in a negative direction, I run 2 in a negative direction. And this is my line. Okay? And the last one we will do together, already in slope-intercept form. I say the slope is -7/1 or +7/-1. The y-intercept is 3. Circle it, start here. I start where the y is 3. And now, if I try to rise 7, what happens? I run off the graph. So sometimes, and the reason we learn how to go in both directions, sometimes you can only go in one direction. So all I can do is fall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a negative direction, run 1 in a positive direction. And for this particular graph, I only have 2 points, and that's okay.